Hi, my name is Navalayo Osembo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Enda. At Enda, we work with Kenyan athletes to make running shoes for runners around the world. However, today I'm here for a totally different reason. I'm here to talk to you about marketing and brand building. Think of it this way. In a world of 7 billion plus people, you want to be able to stand out and have customers come into your business and buy things from you. The whole essence of a business is to be able to sell value, whether it be through a product or a service. But to be able to do that, you need someone else to come in and buy that value from you. And the only way they can do that is if they know you exist and if they know that you have a different value proposition from other competitors in the market. Marketing is one of those things that feels like putting money into a black hole, because it's not all the time that you actually see actual results immediately. Sometimes it takes time and it also takes money, and it's one of those things that you have to be very strategic in investing in order to be able to reap the benefits of marketing. And let's take an example. You have two businesses. In one business, let's call it business A, they have really taken their time to perfect a product. They have worked on it and made changes, and they still don't want to release it to the market because they're not sure how good it is. Then you have business B, which is not really making the best product. However, they are really aggressive about taking the product from the shop into the customer's hands and selling it to the customer. Believe it or not, the customer might not actually go for product A when product A is ready to go to the market. The business that actually makes it might be business B, which actually doesn't have the best product. However, they're more known by people than the product from company A. So this is just to illustrate to you that sometimes it is advantageous to take your product to the market, whether it's perfect or not. The market will be able to give you feedback on whether or how you can make it better. Alternatively, it's much better to be out there and have people coming to buy your products than kind of being sealed in your vacuum and trying to create something that you think is the best for the customer, but the customer actually won't know about its existence. So, what are the things that will make you be better at marketing? The first thing is to know your customer. The importance of knowing your customer is by knowing who they are, you're able to target them more specifically than if you're just targeting someone at random. Would you rather sell to 100 people, of who 90 buy your products, or sell to 10,000 people, of whom only 100 buy your products? You want to have a high conversion rate, and conversion essentially means the ability of people to go from just browsing and looking to actually getting money out of their pocket and giving you their business. And so to be able to do that, you have to be able to know your customer. The best way to get to this is to develop what you call a customer persona. And to be able to do this, you have to do different things. In our case, we did questionnaires, yes, like some of them were word of mouth and others through the internet using MailChimp and other tools like that. You can also just go to your friends and family, they are people too, and ask them, do you like this product? That helps you weed out to know who exactly likes my product, and therefore who should I put more effort in trying to market this product to. The customer persona has to be so specific that you have to know, who is this customer? Like, where do they live? What's their age group? Do they have money? Are they students? Are they in a job? Do they have families? What do they do during the day? What do they do in the evening? What do they do over the weekends? How do they spend their money? And it helps you understand whether, for example, your customer is online or offline. And so once you have that visual, and for me, I can say, I know, if I use my example for Enda, I could pick customer and say, Erica is my customer. Erica lives in a city. Erica is a mid-professional. Erica is about around maybe 30 to 45 years old. She runs 3 to 4 times a week, is a sustainable person, knows what she wants in terms of where her product comes from. And so it makes it easier for me to know, for example, that if I am to target Erica, I have a better chance going to an outdoor place over the weekend because she's most likely to be doing outdoor activities than to be targeting her online on the internet. The second thing you need to consider is choosing your market. So the first thing we said was understand your customer. So that's really good that now you know exactly who you're selling to. So the next point is choosing your market. The market is significant because, as I said before, you can't target everyone. Like, even though I know that my customer can exist, let's say, in 3 different countries, it might be better for me to focus maybe on one country, or even just go down to just one town. When you're kind of looking at your market, you look at different things. So first of all, where are your customers spread out? And then you also consider how easy is it to reach them, be it physically or online, depending on what you want. Product differentiation is important. So for instance, both a Tesla and a Toyota are 2 different types of cars. However, the different type of people who would buy them are extremely different in terms of wealth difference. And so you have to know where your market is, and then what wealth they have, so that you can be able to tell whether they can afford your business, they can afford your product or service or not. And then after that, you basically look at the competition, so in as much as you have identified your market, are there other people who are offering the same product as you are? And lastly, if they are, what's your value proposition? What makes you significantly different from what they're offering you? If I look at the example of Enda, yes, there are very many running shoes company, but our value proposition is not all of them come from Africa. In fact, there isn't any based in Africa, so we are different from that perspective. There isn't any that is based on a mid-foot strike, which is a Kenyan style of running, and so that also makes us different. The next thing you need to be very clear and aware of is defining success. And defining success essentially allows you to come down from building clouds to actually boots on the ground and figure out, what does it mean to say that you have had a successful marketing campaign. The best way to do this is to look at your sales target, because you don't want to just be building castles in the air or be doing different activities, but not all of them are going towards achieving a specific objective. And so the first thing you do is to say, how much sales do I want to make for the year? Assuming I want to make 120,000, dollars or Kenya shillings at the end of the year, that means if I spread it out, I'm coming to about 10,000 a month if I'm spreading it over 12 months. Or maybe there could be specific months where you sell more than other months, and then you can basically apportion that. And then step back and say, for me to be able to achieve those sales for the month, what effort do I need to put in order to get those sales? And when you are considering that, always consider that 100% of marketing efforts is not equal to 100% of sales. And so if I need, for example, 12 people to make purchases for me to hit my monthly target, I would target maybe 3 times that, maybe target 36 or 48 or whatever it is, so that even those who are still making up their minds and they are still falling into the funnel, I still end up getting my 12 people who I was targeting for that month. Once you have defined that success, you know exactly what you need to do and how many people you need to reach in order to convert. And that's important because you also need to communicate it to your team. Everybody has to be on the same page in order to know that we are chasing goal X. And this goal is what, let's say at the end of the week, you have to sit down and revise and say, have we achieved our targets? If not, what are we doing to go to it, or what are we going to do to fix it? So the next thing you need to do is to set up a marketing budget, because marketing always makes you feel like, if I just do this one more thing, I'll be good. No, you have to stick to a budget, because you can end up doing a lot of activities which are not necessarily giving you the results you want. So you need to be able to know when to be creative and when to stop. And a budget essentially is that guard that helps you to be able to do it. And when you're creating a budget, think of all the things you want to do, whether you're doing them online or offline, and then make an apportion. Like, don't put everything together and then try see what works. The beauty of a budget also is it, as I mentioned before, it forces you to be creative. So for example, if I have only, let's say I'm selling my product for 100 shillings, of which 15 shillings is only dedicated to marketing, I know that I can't go and do big brand endorsements or do other things that might seem big and flashy and might attract people. But I know, for instance, it might make more sense for me to look for another small business to partner with. And so it helps me keep a reality check on what I am doing in terms of my marketing activities. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. I can't emphasize that enough. So don't just focus on one thing. So for example, you're only doing Facebook ads and you're not doing anything else, right? You all know that it's much better to spread the risk. And also from a startup perspective, you still don't know what makes the market tick in terms of your product. So you're better off trying different things. Do your readers respond well to a blog? Or are they people who want to see your product? So you need to set up a pop-up shop so that people can touch it or they can feel it. Are they people who like brand ambassadors or influencers? Is that how you basically get to your customers better? And so the best thing that you can do is try to switch things up, again staying within your budget, so that you find the thing that works for you. An example I can give you from Enda is we tried, at first we had a mailing list which we thought would be a great tool for communication and for marketing. However, the mistake we made with it, we were always telling people, buy this product and buy this product. And so after a while, we realized it wasn't working. So what we did is we said, what if we focus on the customer and give them what no one else is giving them? Let's give them Kenyan running shoes, Kenyan running news. Let's give them something that no other person is doing. And by doing that, we basically changed the format of the mailing list from us to about the customer. And what that did was that it saw the mailing list grow exponentially. It saw a higher rate of engagement, and by that I mean people who are able to click and open and read, and how much time they spend on the mailing list. And so it only got better because we were trying different things. The important thing to remember is that first of all, spread your risks in terms of different types of marketing strategies, and even within those marketing strategies, try to switch things up so that at any one point you're always trying to improve things. Data is your friend. When you're doing it online, it's easier because a lot of these softwares capture the data on your behalf. And then on the second hand, if you're not able to do it online, try to do recordings, like at least in a physical book. How many customers are coming in a day? What time do they come? If they come, do they just buy one product? Or if you offer them something extra, do they buy along with it? So you're just basically trying to understand your customer characteristics better. And the best way to do that is through data. And so when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're not just having the data, but you're analyzing it, sharing it with your team, and adjusting your behavior to fit that of the customer. And that will allow you to basically pivot on the places where you are strong and reduce the places where you're basically not effective in terms of time and resources. And so the bottom line is, look at marketing as a pipeline to sales, right? And so every person that comes to you by virtue of marketing is kind of entering a pipeline, and the whole idea is to get them to convert from being people who are hearing about your customer to people actually converting to become your customers. If you look at all the points I've talked about, it's much easier when you start from identifying your customer. Then you're able to know where they are, how to target them, what makes them tick, and then you kind of keep adjusting the dial until you find the right thing that fits you. And as I mentioned before, better to get 90 of 100 customers than 100 of 10,000 customers. Branding is important because it actually helps to serve your business marketing efforts in the long term. Think of a brand as the character of your business, and a character has two elements. One is what you see, and the other one is what you experience. So what you see essentially is almost like going on a first date. A lot of people make a lot of effort in presenting the best version of themselves. So it's the same thing with a brand. It's what you see, it's the colors, it's the logo, it's the thing that first you interact with. And then secondly, over time, you get to know each other. And so you get to know, does this person have the same ideals that I do? Do they believe in the same things? And so it is the same thing with a brand. So that it's not just about a short-term effort of saying, hey, look at me, I look really nice and pretty. It's about how do you treat your customers and what experience do they have when they interact with your brand. And so one of the things that are important when setting your brand is identifying your identifier. When you talked about marketing, it was more about understanding the customer. The brand is more about understanding yourself. What is inspiring you? Who are you inspiring? What are the things that you like about? What are the things that you seek inspiration from your product? In our case, we were looking at running shoes, and so we were looking at Kenyan and African running shoes, and so we were really looking at Kenyan running history, running culture, Kenyan history. And so those are the things that when we were looking at what does our brand represent, those are the things we were thinking of. And once you have identified your brand identifier, the things that make your brand unique, that's essentially the beginning of the journey of branding. The next important thing about branding is protecting your intellectual property. So intellectual property is essentially protecting your logo, protecting the name of your business, And these are, and other things, but those I would say are the key things that you need to do. The important thing about that is that you want to get ahead of the copycat game, so that when your business flourishes, not if, you basically have created a space where it is very difficult for someone to come and create something that looks similar to yours or has a name sounding similar to yours. You can basically take legal action if someone is doing that. Keep in mind, you put so much effort in marketing. It might be really demoralizing when someone just comes in and has the same name as your business but just changes one word, and then they want to sell the same things as you're selling. In Kenya, you go to the Kenya Industrial Property Institute, KIPI, and make sure that at the very least you have identified your logo, you have protected your logo, and you've protected your business name. So that basically allows you to protect that. Now that you identified at the beginning the things that matter to you, now you're kind of like putting them into practice. And so what are the colors, right? And what is the voice? What is the font that you're using it? In as much as someone can say, what does color matter and what does font matter? It is about being consistent in how you present yourself and your business to your customers. The last thing I would say about that is the experiential bit, and so don't be the person who invests so much on the outer look, but you don't respond to your customer queries, you're rude to your customers, your orders are always late. It's not just about the aesthetic, it's also how do people experience your brand and what do they tell people about your brand. The good thing about branding is that it supplements your marketing effort, so that in the long term, as you are doing short-term activities, the brand is helping people identify you over and over and over again, and that makes it easier for you to convert people in the marketing pipeline to become long-term and loyal customers. So a final recap on branding is to remember that branding has two elements. One, it is what people see, and the other is what people experience. The seeing part is short-term and also long-term a bit, but the experiential part is the long-term. Secondly, it's important to remember that branding is about more of you than the customer, whereas marketing, you're focusing on the customer. Branding is about telling the customer your story and helping them attach to your story. So it's important to think about the things that inspire you. Once you've done that, then identify the logo, the colors, the font, the small things that make you stand out from the next person, and then use those consistently. Use them consistently together with your team. And then last but not least, even before using them, protect them. In this world where everything is going online, you want to make sure that the business, the brand, the marketing you're doing is all coming together, and that if anyone tries to copy you, you have legal recourse to them. The most important thing right now is to be very intentional about the team that you're building around you. I know it's really hard to start because you have limited resources and you can only take the help that you need, but also try to be a bit choosy about who you're helping. Like, look at least for people who are reliable at the very least. Look for people who believe in your vision and are supporting of you. A team is essentially what makes the dream work, and so try as much as possible that even when you're getting offers for help, try to get them from people who are knowledgeable and people who are reliable. It doesn't matter if someone is a genius but they're not reliable. Try to find someone who you can count on to do the things, and even if they don't, there's a reason why, not someone who just shows up. The team is essentially what takes you through the execution, and so because of that, you have to be really selfish about who you're allowing into your team, and also at the same time understanding that life happens. So it's a two-way traffic. You understand them, they understand you, but at the end of the day, it has to be a team that is helping you push the vision and not pulling you down. People who are either stealing from you or not pulling their weight or taking advantage because you're their relative or whatever it is. If it is not amplifying your business or supplementing it, cut it off. The faster you do it, the better. I hope it has been helpful, and I wish you the absolute best in your marketing and branding activities. Thank you.